Ladies and gentlemen and graphic designers, we're going to do part 3 where we learn to take our project from Photoshop to Illustrator. So we're going to learn how to jump between Photoshop and Illustrator, and we're going to learn today about Illustrator artboard. So we got to open Illustrator and we got to create a document. So we're going to go to Adobe Illustrator. We're going to go File, New. We're going to create a document. Now this time we have to make a document that's going to work for the laser cutter. So we're going to make it 24 by 12. RGB and 300 pixels per inch, and we're going to click OK. And then we got to save this guy, file save as. We got to save it in our folder with our name on it. We got to save it in our sticker project folder, and I'm going to call this Ezekiel sticker project number 2 because it's my second version of it. Okay, and then click OK. Now the next thing that we're going to do according to the spiel is we have to make a second artboard. Now write this down in your notes. Artboards are similar to pages and they represent the printable area. You can have more than one, and we're going to create a second one for our project because we've got to do two things with this document. We need to print to the regular old printer, and we need to print and cut to the laser cutter. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure you're going to go Window, you're going to go Workspace, make sure you're in Essentials like me, and then you're going to come over here to the Layers, and right next to the Layers there's this tab called Artboards. We're going to go there. So we have our artboard or page that's it's 24 by 12. We're going to make a new one. Okay, and you can see it over there. I'm going to shrink this right down here so you can see it. Okay, so there's artboard 1, artboard 2. So now we need to do an adjustment on artboard 2. We're going to click here and we're going to go to the artboard options, and we're going to make this set up for printing on regular paper. So we're going to say 8.5 by 11, and we're going to click OK. Now, and we need these guys to overlap, so we're going to, oh, I messed it up. I'm totally messed it up. So I have to go to Document Setup, Edit Artboards. Okay, so I can grab this guy and I want to move him right there. So these things overlap. So there's my regular page size, 8.5 by 11, and this is the size of the laser cutter, 24 by 12. Okay, so we're good there. I can click on any tool and it takes me off. Now, right now I'm working on the artboard 2, and then I can jump over here to artboard 1 and back to artboard 2. All right, let's go see what's next on the spiel. All right, write this down. Smart objects are layers that contain image data. So we're going to place it, write this down. We're going to place your art as a smart object. So we did a bunch of work in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, now we're going to place it into Adobe Illustrator. So we're going to go File, and actually let's be on artboard 2. Yeah. So we're going to go File, and we're going to Place, and we're going to find our sticker project in Photoshop, and we're going to place it. And it's going to take time. Okay, so you can see that it placed the picture. I'm going to put this guy in the upper, I'm going to put it in the upper corner, I think. Not too far. I don't want to go, let me zoom in a little bit. I don't want to go too far because then it'll cut the edges off. Okay, so something, let me keep moving a little bit. Something like, I don't know, something like that should be good. And then I'm going to hit Enter, or then I'm going to click off of it and just say OK. All right, so we have that. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my laser cut piece around it. Okay, so I'm going to go to my layers and I'm going to lock this layer. I don't want it to move for right now. I'm going to make a new layer, and then I'm going to go to my pen tool. I'll zoom in some more. Then I'm going to go to my pen tool. I'm going to start drawing. So I'm going to go to my pen tool and I'm going to do the obvious things. Click, 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 click. So I'm basically trying to draw around this thing. Now I don't want it to be filled, so I'm going to do something like this and get rid of it. Anyway, I'm going to hit pause real quick, and I'm going to finish my my drawing and get back because this takes some time. So I'm going to hit pause so you don't have to watch me do this tedious thing. Okay, so I drew the line around it. This is where we're going to cut out the sticker. Okay, and so in order to get it to be a cut on the laser cutter, you have to click on it, and you're going to have to come over here and make sure that you're still in RGB mode. So if you're not, go to RGB, and you're going to say it's going to be all red, no green, no blue, 25500. And then the stroke up here, you've got to change the stroke to .001. And that's just kind of weird and random, but that's how the laser cutter knows that this is going to be a cut. Okay, so now the next deal is if I'm going to zoom out here. I'm going to click on this, hit Alt, and zoom out so we can see. So if you zoom out, you can see I could probably fit some more stickers on here, right? I could fit some more stickers. So I'm going to go to my layers. I'm going to unlock the artwork layer. I'm going to make a a copy of this. So I'm going to drag around both. I got both things. I'm going to press, I'm on the move tool. I'm going to press Alt, and I'm going to make copies of this. So I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to make copies of this. And by the way, the first time I did this, it had a bunch of, the first time I tried it, there's a bunch of white around the sticker and it was blocking it. And so we talked earlier about smart objects. And so if you have some sort of issue where like, oh man, there's something in here I don't like, well, the nice thing is you can open your project in Photoshop. So for example, I could go to I'm going to do something bad to show you this. But in the previous version, like I said, there was like a white background that I didn't like. And let me do some other stuff. I'm gonna make just a random drawing in black. I'm gonna go to the top layer. I'm gonna make an extra layer. I'm gonna draw in. Let's draw pink. I'm gonna make a pink drawing here, right? And then, like I said before, I had like this white background back here that I didn't like. And then I'm gonna go File to Save. Okay, and so. The nice thing about a smart object is any changes I make in Photoshop, it'll just pop those changes right back into Illustrator. Okay, so I made those changes in Photoshop, so now I come back and here's the layer where that smart object is. If I click on it and I say, oh yeah, I do want to go ahead and update that. If I go ahead and click OK, then those changes are going to appear. Okay, so you can see like the changes, these weird changes that I don't like are there. So now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit pause, and I'm going to go back. So I'm going to open up Photoshop again. I'm going to make it back to where I really need it, and then I'm going to turn the video back on. But you can see if you left a white background on your Photoshop project, that doesn't work out very well, and you're going to have to remove that. Okay, so I jumped ahead a little bit, so you can see that as I showed you before, I unlocked the layers and I dragged copies, and I wanted a few copies of this, so I did it. So I'm ready to print, and then after I print, then I'll be ready to laser cut. So there's a couple of things you want to do when you print. So let's take a look at some of the things. So here's what you want to do. Is this right here? So let's do those things. Okay, so what we're going to do is when we're going to print, we want to go to the artboard and we want to be on this artboard. Okay, so you can see what happens. I jump between. I want to be on the 8.5 by 11 artboard. Okay, and then once I'm there, I'm going to go to File, Print, and I'm going to choose the color printer, the HP Color LaserJet, and then I want to do a couple things. So if I hit Ignore Artboards, that's bad. Okay, and then if I scale, that's going to be bad. It's going to look fine, except for when I go to try to get it to cut out on the laser cutter, it's scaled so the red is no longer going to match. Okay, and oh, by the way, see how the red lines are there? I don't want those. So I need to go to my layers and I need to turn off the red lines. Okay, all right, let's try it again. So I'm going to go File, Print, choose the printer. I'm going to make sure that it's not ignoring artboards, and I do not want it to fit to page. I want it to not to scale, and we want to look at it and make sure it looks right. Okay, so now that it looks pretty darn good, you can see we're going to lose a little bit of stuff on the edge, but that's going to be okay because we didn't need that anyways. That's going to get cut out, and I'm going to go ahead and print. Click, print. Okay, now that what we do is we go grab that print paper, and we're going to put it into the laser cutter. So we're going to take out our, oh, and by the way, you got to put in your sticker paper and make sure you stick it in the right way, and you don't put the sticker paper in the drawer. There's a special section to put the sticker paper. If you put the sticker paper in the regular drawer, it's going to clog up and break the printer, so there's a little place on the side to put it. And so before you print, ask Mr. Miller, and he'll show you how to print properly with sticker paper. Now, we're going to go ahead and go to laser cut now. For the laser cut, we want to flip-flop things, so we want to turn the cut on and turn this off. So we're pretending like right now that you're over back by the laser cutter and you're printing on the laser cutter, and you have your sticker paper placed in the laser cutter. All right, so we're going to turn on this, and then we're going to, as far as artboards, now we want to go to the 24 by 12 artboard. Okay, and so I'm on my regular computer, so it's going to be hard to show you exactly, but it's going to be a little bit something like this. You're going to go File, Print. Okay, you're going to choose the VLS. You're going to choose a laser cutter. Same thing, you do not want to ignore artboard. So if this is checked, get rid of that. And same thing, you do not want to scale. And if it doesn't look right, again, look here, make sure it looks like it's going to be print in the right spot, and you're going to be good to go. All right, and then you're going to hit print. Now before you actually hit go on the laser cutter, you're going to have to do some test runs. So you can actually run the laser cutter with the lid open, and instead of using a strong laser, it uses a laser pointer, which won't burn anything, and so you can line it up. So typically you're going to have to slide the paper down just like a 1/8 of an inch and over to the right like an 1/8 of an inch to get it to line up. But you're going to have to play with it a little bit and try it a few times to get it to line up. And so when you're ready to try to, before you hit go, call Mr. Miller over and he will show you how to align it properly so that you don't waste your very valuable sticker paper. Okay, let's see what's next on the slide. All right, well, same thing when I'm talking about cutting, turn off the artwork layer, turn on the cut layer, use the 24x12 artboard, everything we just said. Here's the settings. When you're on the laser cutter, here's the settings you want to use. You're going to go to use paper, construction paper, and try this. That's going to be the right amount. You want it to cut the top layer, but not all the way through. That should work. We might have to adjust this as we go, see what's working in that day. The thickness right there, that looks like that's going to work. And that's it. Give it a shot.